That's it. We're live. How you doing, Tony?
Doing good. This is episode, what number?
4.
4.
Quattro.
Okay. So, I got a quick question for you.
Oh, okay.
So, what have you been playing on your playlist recently?
Playing on my playlist?
Yeah.
Okay, so a few days ago, you know how Spotify will sometimes just give you music, right? So it gave me an old song that I had not heard from high school, right? It's not made when I was in high school. It was probably made way, way before I was in high school.
Yeah.
But the song is Slacker by Tech9.
Ah.
And, it started bringing back all those memories and everything.
So you got like the little high school playlist now where it's like, my youth.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
See, recently, I've been listening to like a lot of like older artists, right? Stuff that I used to listen to way back when. And I just think to myself, like, most of the time I'm like, it still holds up. And then there's the odd chance where it's like, this sucks. What was I listening to?
Like what?
Like what? Okay, so all this butt rock stuff that I was listening to when I was a kid.
Butt rock?
Butt rock, yes, butt rock.
What is butt rock?
You don't know what butt rock is?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so butt rock is like, think like Nickelback or stuff like that, where it's like, generic like radio rock that's just like,
oh, it's just pumped out for the radio.
Yeah, it's
kind of
just
like how pop is now.
Well, it kind of. Depends on what type of pop artist, though. Some pop artists, I will say, are really, really good. They just don't get popular.
Well, it's like I'm more talking about like you can tell like they're manufactured and they're not, or they are being held up by like a company, and they're like, oh, you have to sound like this and have music that sounds like this and that.
Where it's like the artist doesn't have like an actual creative vision. They're more just a studio, like whatever.
The company puts in the inputs and the artist puts it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where what I feel like the more popular artists or more popular pop artists are, right? Mm-hmm. Like when I think of Drake, right? I think of his latest record is absolute dog shit. Anybody that says it's not,
I haven't heard any of it.
Okay. I will tell you right now, it's mostly like a house-ish. Like it's like a house record, kind of, except for like one rap song. And guess what? The one good song in the album is the rap song. It's not even that good.
I think the last song I heard of his was, I don't know the name of it, but it's the Kiki, Do You Love Me?
Kiki, do you... Okay, I'll stop right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, his last record, you could tell that he doesn't have like his own creative force behind it. You get what I'm saying? Because like, I don't know what it is, but when you're in a like such a curated environment as like being like a big star like Drake, right? You are upholdent to produce success constantly, right? Yeah. And I feel like it kind of limits what he can do, really, right? Because when I think of like good, like Drake songs, I think of like his early work, where it's more like introspective and more like, it's about something, right?
Well, isn't that what they say about a lot of artists? Like the earlier stuff before they hit it big is really the stuff that has like soul behind it and everything before the corporate machine brings it down.
Yeah, but like I think that you can work within the corporate machine, especially nowadays, where you can work within that sort of guise of like total creative freedom. Because I mean, if you have total creative freedom, I feel it's hard to reach the masses. Right? And if you want to be a big rapper or a big pop star, reach as many people as possible, you have to have someone to be like, hey, yo, you need to either like cool it or do something here, do something there.
Well, unless you're one of the new, like, because TikTok is creating all these like new one-hit wonders.
It's a great time to be a one-hit wonder fan. It's a great time. I'm just saying. Okay. Like, what's so great about it too is that the songs are only good for 30 seconds. That's the best part. Like, you have an artist gets big on TikTok, right? Absolute no name. The song is dog shit. but like the 30 seconds that gets a replayed on TikTok is great, amazing. Mm-hmm. And then you listen to the rest of the song, and you're like, "Fuck, man."
Well, that's like that. I think it's just called ABCDFU or something like that song.
Oh yeah, ABCDE. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. What's funny is that like the new like this is gonna date this, by the way. The new craze is like, let's turn nursery rhymes into hard trap beats or pop songs, right? Yes. Like, I remember listening to this one song the other day, and it was like somebody at my work was playing it, and my work consists of like mostly younger people, and it was literally what's the one song called? The wheels of the bus go round and round, right?
Yeah.
And it was that beat, but the rapper is rapping over it, obviously not making reference to it at all. Because like I feel like that's creative bankruptcy, is that if you're using the wheels on the bus go round and round, that's your main beat. But hey, what do I know?
That's something the what's his name? The Baby should do.
What?
Well, I mean, it like go with his whole thing, the Baby, nursery rhymes.
Yo, the Baby, can we please get a nursery rhyme rap album, please?
I think his last album that just dropped.
It's bad.
I haven't heard anything of it, but I think I remember reading it only sold like 16,000 units.
It's so bad. It's not necessarily that it's like. See, it's the opposite of the Drake album, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Where Drake's last album felt creatively bankrupt. This one feels like he is fully in charge, like completely, and he might be going a little off the rails.
Well, could it be that? Or just like a bunch of yes men around him. Like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. Just because he's rich and famous.
I mean, yeah. Typically, isn't he signed to an indie label?
I have no idea. I don't listen to anything he makes or pay attention to. Like, the only reason I know the 16,000 units thing is because I follow the hip-hop heads, I think it is, on Reddit.
Okay, them fellas are fucking stupid too, though. Like, let's be... If anybody from our hip-hop heads ever listens to this, just know, y'all fellas are fucking stupid as fuck. Like, actually fucking...
Why is that?
Real stupid. What do you mean, why? Well, first of all, if you're a Redditor and you comment, I automatically assume that you're stupid.
Well, I guess I'm stupid then.
Oh, rip. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to inform you, you're stupid.
It's all right.
But yeah, if you okay, here's the thing. Some of these fellas' opinions, I've seen some of these fellas' opinions. Mm-hmm. Some of these fellas got dog shit opinions. Like, they don't even know, like, music whatsoever, right? And it's okay to have the sort of, like, opinion of, like, I just like it because I like it, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to have, like, a critical discussion about something, and all you can answer with, that's just the way it is. Like, no. No.
I mean, what's wrong with that? Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the state of music right now.
I think it's depends on what you're listening to, right? If you're listening to like popular music, it's not looking too good. However, a lot of underground artists and a lot of like, how should I put it? Like just underneath like the top level like popularity artists are really good right now.
Well, I don't feel like I'm going to sound like a boomer right here, but I don't really understand music anymore.
Oh, my
If that
goodness.
makes sense.
Well,
no. Like, so I tried listening to a little bit of Kendrick's new album, right?
Which one?
It's the new one that just came out like a few months ago.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking. I forget the name of it. I thought that was pretty good though.
I'll look it up.
I feel like that was good. See, that was a nice little creative output. While I may not like, it's not my type of beat, right? Mm-hmm. I liked it. I respect it for what it is.
Now, how are they going to have put a list of his albums, but not the newest one? Isaiah told me about it, and he says he likes it, right? And there's a few songs I heard on there that I do like, but for the most part, I don't understand the album whatsoever. I'm assuming it just flew over my head.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, it's some I don't want to say high concept because it's not high concept. It's Kendrick just doing his thing, right? Mm-hmm. But it's very, you can tell that he's kind of gotten into the mode of like, I'm an artist kind of deal, right? Like when I think of people like that, I think of like the David Bowies of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like their persona of being this like amazing artist kind of just like creates like an aura of like detachability,
right,
from everything, right?
So it's called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yes,
that's the name of it.
Which, by the way, I can't believe that somebody didn't take that as a jazz band name. That sounds like a jazz band name.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, because it's like
somebody's name and then
their band.
Yeah,
and it's usually like the Big Whatevers or the Whatevers, right?
So when you were talking about butt rock,
yes,
Nickelback and you know bands like them, you don't enjoy listening to it anymore?
It's not so much that I don't enjoy it. Like I enjoy it as a guilty pleasure sort of thing, where it's like, yes.
But you shouldn't like it.
I know, or it's not like I know I shouldn't like, because like you like what you like, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why the term guilty pleasure, I feel like, is kind of like a little outdated.
Right.
Because it implies that something that you like is automatically bad. I know, not necessarily objectively, but that if I was to listen to these songs now with my current mindset, I would not like them for the most part.
But they have that nostalgia feel to them.
Yeah. Where it's like, man, you remember when we were outside the Target parking lot? Listen to Photograph from Nickelback? Great times, man. Great times.
I guess, yeah. But, so you went back and listened to just a bunch of butt rock?
Mm-hmm. And now my YouTube playlist is infested, and I can't get rid of it.
Well, just stop listening to it. Eventually, YouTube will get the hint, right? No,
not nowadays. Not nowadays. Maybe back in the day, yeah. But definitely not nowadays.
Well, yeah, because you watch one video on YouTube, and it's like, oh, you watched 10 seconds of this video that you accidentally clicked on? Mm-hmm. Here's everything about that subject.
Yep. Like, I remember I was, once again, going through, like, letting YouTube pick the music, right? Mm-hmm. Which can be good, but sometimes it miss real bad.
Right.
I remember I clicked on this Doja Cat song, Say So, or Most Popular Song, probably. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just let YouTube play what it wants. They pick her song, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch,
right,
I'm a
yeah.
cow. Go moo. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Then all of a sudden, it starts getting into this weird shit where it's like, oh, we have like children's like whatevers. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird too. And then once it goes into like the children's whatevers, it's like, oh, now we're going to do the like dark kids songs. I'm like, okay, no, we're done here. We're done.
Have you ever heard something like just so atrocious, and then you look at the comments and everyone's like, man, I love this song or whatever?
Okay. Message to all the fucking boomers out there. Okay. If you think Disco Duck was a good fucking song, it's fucking not.
Well, I was watching this video, and they have that show with, I think the YouTube channel is called Cut, and they do things like, do you disagree or agree with this statement strongly or whatever, and then they have all this other line of stuff that they do, and there was like these two rappers on one episode, and I wound up finding their actual music and everything. Mm-hmm. It was so horrible. And I was like, why would anybody even listen to this? That's why I feel like a boomer. Like, I don't understand music anymore.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot more niches now.
Yeah.
There's not a huge group listening to one piece of music anymore unless it's like pop music.
Yeah, that's what music is now, is that you have, if you're not like the big artists, or the big artists, right? You have to dedicate yourself to like a niche to get noticed, right? Mm-hmm. I think recently with like because I play guitar. I obviously listen to like a lot of like guitar centric music to like find stuff and like be like, oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, find inspiration.
Yeah, well, not necessarily inspiration, but like just be like connected to like the zeitgeist, right?
Okay.
And recently, Polyphia. Me personally, I do not like the music, but as a guitar player, you have to listen to it because it's like the newest, like up and coming thing.
You have to listen to it?
Yeah. Think like in the 80s, right? If you're playing guitar and you're not listening to Eddie Van Halen at least like once, right? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, but isn't music like, are we going through this trend of music where we're bringing back old sounds? Like with The Weeknd, he's bringing in like synth pop back.
But that's more like marketability, though, I feel. Or in The Weeknd's case, I feel like it's a legitimate artistic choice, right? For a lot of people, it's like, oh, let's bring back the 70s for like the good times feeling. Or the 80s for like, I don't know, like drug-fueled, like whatevers.
Yeah, but the kids that are listening to The Weeknd's music, they weren't alive during the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, I know. So it's new to them.
But is it new? Because they've heard it before, probably.
Yes, it is new though.
But they weren't alive when it was in its heyday.
Yeah.
So is it like a nostalgia thing for them because they heard it when they were little?
See, here's the great thing about artists, right? Is that I liken it to like this like sort of thing in sales, kind of, where you want dedicated early adopters to basically make your product seem bigger than it actually is, right? So think with like the early iPhones, how fanatical people were about like, oh my God, look at this phone, you touch the screen, right?
Right, yeah.
And then everyone started getting behind the early adopters because the early adopters were so enthused, right? Same thing with music. If you hear like, say 100 people be like, this is the best artist of all time, you're more inclined to believe those people than say like 50,000 people going like, oh my goodness, yay.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because don't people have, what's it called, herd mentality? Where it's like, once this group of people starts liking something, if you want to be in their crowd, you have to almost conform to what they like.
Yeah. It's a similar concept to that, but because the niche is so strong, it's so fervent about it, it seems like a bigger deal, right?
You think people are more inclined to go with the herd mentality now?
Yeah.
Or go against it?
Yeah. I'm more inclined to believe people will go with. However, there's a lot more groups now than there were way back when, before the internet.
So wouldn't it make it harder to, I guess, influence people into your group if there's a lot more niches now? Because if somebody likes something, I feel like they're gonna like it now. As where back then in the day, you would just like something because everybody else likes something.
I feel like a lot of stuff is more homogenized now, though.
Okay.
Like niches, while they're more passionate, like fans, right? More passionate, like about their thing, right?
Right.
The more popular stuff is so homogenized and just like samey. And this is not even necessarily in just music either, but like in movies or in TV, right?
Well, with movies, they just bring back everything now.
Yeah.
There's no real creative ideas anymore.
I mean, there is creative ideas. Like, I saw the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a good movie. I really liked that movie.
Well, I heard what Jordan Peele's doing. I guess more of a creative direction than, Avengers movie 500.
Hey, listen, okay? Jordan Peele. I love his movies to death. But his last movie, have you seen his last movie? Nope.
No, I haven't seen any of them, but I want to see them.
Okay. I suggest you watch Nope last. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Is it the worst one?
Yes.
Of what he's okay. So why wouldn't I watch that one first?
Because it's the newest one.
Is it like a storyline between all the movies?
No.
Or are they okay?
I can't say anything. Just by the next time I talk to you about it, hopefully you've seen it, and we can talk about it here because, oh my God, that movie.
Because what he has, Us, Nope, like you just said, and there's a third one.
Yeah, it's Us, Get Out,
Get Out, yeah.
and
yeah. So I still got to watch those 3 movies. There's that one movie that I want to watch too with he was in Twilight, but I don't know his name.
Robert Pattinson.
I think so. He's the one that played the
new Batman.
I think so, yeah. And he's in a movie where they're in a what's it called? Not a watchtower, but a lighthouse. It's a lighthouse, and it's all black and white and everything. I want to see that movie.
Robert Pattinson's a good actor. I feel like he doesn't take it on any projects anymore that he doesn't want to take.
So he's in his Daniel Radcliffe phase.
Yeah, where he's like, I'm only taking what I want to take. And I don't care if it makes a lot of money or not, right? Like Swiss Army Man, remember that from Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh, that was I never finished the movie because it was so weird. I was like, what is going on in this movie?
It's really sweet though. It's real. It is a good movie.
So should I go back and finish it?
I would suggest you finish it because it's a good movie. It's an actual legitimate good movie. It's weird. It's very weird, but like it's good.
So what is the weirdest niche of music you've heard?
The weirdest niche?
Yeah.
Probably, it's really hard to say because you have like fusion genres, which are, if you fuse the two like certain genres together, you're like, what? But then you just got stuff that's just like fucking out there. Microtonal music. It's probably that's probably the first thing that, like, if I mention it to someone, I'm like, if you want to listen to something that's like weird and like off-putting, microtonal music.
What is that?
So microtonal music is basically, okay, so you know how there's like musical letters, musical notes, right? They play stuff in between those musical notes. So like, say there's like an A and an A sharp, right? They'll play in between those, which sounds wrong to most people. But music theory-wise is very correct.
Well, what does music theory say about it?
Well, music theory says that there's only like certain letters in the musical alphabet, right? There's only certain like notes that you can play, right?
Right.
So like think like, and keep in mind this is Western music. I'm not talking like more traditional styles of music like classical or Eastern Asian music or Mongolian music or like Russian music or anything.
I like listening to the Mongolian throat singing.
Oh, it is so good, right? It is sick as fuck. It is. Okay, do you want to hear a hot take?
What's that?
Okay, Mongolian throat singing is more metal than most metal nowadays. Like actually.
Well, I haven't listened to anything metal recently.
Modern metal?
It's pretty much dying out, right?
Modern metal is all about showing virtuosity now, which is like, in one sense, it's really cool because it's like you get to see these people like do what they do, right? On the other hand, do I care? No, I do not. I will say Dream Theater is pretty good though. Dream Theater.
I was just thinking Dream Theater. Yeah.
Dream Theater. They're virtuosic, but like still like really good. Still really like musically listenable, right?
Right.
But some of these bands, man, I'm just not about it. I'm all about showing off, right? But do so in a way that makes sense. Like if you're like in a 9-minute song and you're just like, the whole band is just shredding, it's so off-putting.
I don't think I could listen to a 9-minute song. I think the longest song I've listened to is probably around 7 minutes long.
Okay. I feel like you can listen to a 9-minute song. Actually, I know for a fact you can listen to a 9-minute song.
Well, I could. Would I enjoy it? Probably not.
You would need something with like that's a little more dynamic, right? Where it's like it changes up in the song itself.
Well, see, I don't know anymore because lately I haven't even really enjoyed music, if that makes sense. It's more I just listen to it in the car so it's not quiet.
I feel like part of that is because you've had a kid. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it could be. And I'm also listening, stuff like Elmo and what's the other one? Yo Gabba Gabba.
Personally, I really like music a lot. I really do.
I like music too. but I feel like I don't have a place in listening to it anymore because most of the new songs I listen to, I don't like at all.
Like, are you talking new music or music you've just discovered?
Newer music coming out, okay. Like with Kendrick Lamar's new album again, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the songs I did not like. There were a few on there I like, but for the most part, I did not like the album.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's because I'm changing as a person, getting older and everything, or it's because I don't understand it anymore. Because I felt like back when I was listening to new stuff that was coming out, I could understand it and dislike it, understand it and like it. Now I feel like I don't understand it at all.
Okay. Well, that's where I feel like, I feel like you have a certain thing with Kendrick at least, where it's like you expect a certain thing from him, right?
Oh, I don't expect anything out of any artist.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why is that?
Well, because they're an artist, because tomorrow they could come out with something brand new that they never done before. Like, look at Kanye. He put out a what is it called? A gospel album.
Which, by the way, as far as gospel music goes, I have massive respect for gospel artists, right? Mm-hmm. Because actual gospel artists are probably some of the most talented musicians in the world, period. Full stop, end of story, right?
Okay.
And this is just known. Anybody in the know, jazz musicians, blues musicians, anybody that actually plays their instruments to any competent degree knows gospel music is just talent everywhere. Just everywhere, mm-hmm. right? And if you want to go learn how to play in a live setting under the highest scrutiny possible, gospel music. So just saying that. However, having said that, Kanye's gospel album, I did not like it whatsoever.
Well, he's gone off his rocker.
Oh, yeah.
So, but with that, Kanye is one of those, I feel like Kanye is an actual artist with no one helping him with direction, Well,
that's probably because, he'll just fucking fire him if they say
probably. No. But he put out, rap album, gospel, and then what? What's next? What's next from Kanye? I don't know, and I'm not going to expect another gospel album or a rap album from him, because who knows what he'll put out. Tomorrow, Kendrick Lamar could put out a rock album for all I know.
I doubt it.
Why?
Because I feel like Kendrick's influences are more from jazz than rock, right?
So could you see him putting out a jazz album?
I could definitely see him doing some sort of effort with jazz musicians, yes. Kanye, I feel like his is more stunted in the producing side of it, right?
Yeah.
And that gospel album is just a one-off fluke. If he went back to producing, that'd be great. I think anytime he produces something, the production is always amazing.
Well, he started off as a producer, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly incorporated rapping.
Yeah, slowly incorporated rapping. He produced for other people.
Right.
So, and then he got his name big off of that, and then went wait a minute, I could be the guy.
I can make more money.
I could be the person on the t-shirt. I could have that inflated ego.
Instead of being just the guy who has his name on the back of the CD.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be honest, is probably better in general for people's mental health. Mm-hmm. See Kanye.
I mean, what do you think happened to Kanye?
What I think happened to him?
You think he just got too big, too quick, and it all went to his head?
No. I feel like okay, if we're going based off the first, 3 albums, right? Mm-hmm. Which I think legitimately is Kanye's best work. Period. Full stop. Even in his producing work. His first 3 albums are amazing. Mm-hmm. If we go based off of that, I feel like, because I remember his parents dying, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a big blow to anyone. But right. The way this fella talks about his mom, his whole world must have fucking shattered into a million pieces.
So you think he was just a really big mama's boy, and then when she passed away, that was it. That
was the trigger. That was the end of sane Kanye. Now we're in deranged Kanye.
Well, no, it's God Kanye.
Oh, it's God. Oh, yeah, now it's God Kanye. We went from normal Kanye. Well, normal-ish, right? And normal-ish as far as any artist.
Street Kanye.
Street Kanye.
Drop out Kanye.
Yeah, drop out Kanye to big Kanye. Mm-hmm. Then deranged Kanye. And now we're on God Kanye.
Or is it homeless? Because he likes to dress up like he's homeless now.
I don't know, man. I can't judge the dude based off his clothes anymore. Like, I just I only follow the work, right?
Right.
And he's not. I mean, he's not my favorite rapper, surely. He's not even my favorite producer. Like right now, I would say my favorite producer is probably either Thundercat or Flying Lotus.
Okay.
One of those two. You've heard their work before, I'm sure.
Not that I know of.
Did you listen to Pimp a Butterfly?
Yeah.
That's Thundercat and Flying Lotus.
Okay.
A lot of that album. I highly suggest listening to their work separately, especially Thundercat. Thundercat, he's like a really good bassist, like jazz fusion bassist that incorporates a lot of like hip hop into his stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
how do you follow artists?
How do I follow artists?
Like, do you just like literally keep track of everything they do? Not everything, but like music wise.
I listen to a lot of different music. So like when I'm at work, because I have the availability to listen to like whatever, since I'm on the road a lot, I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna go from a song I like, and we're just gonna let the algorithm take me where it wants most of the time, right? Like the other day, I was listening to Flying Lotus, right? And from Flying Lotus, it gave me like the Flying Lotus song he did with Kendrick Lamar. And then from there, it's like, oh, we get Kendrick affiliates and stuff like that, rather than just strictly sticking to one artist, right? And I think that's better than songs, because anybody can make one good song.
I don't know about that.
Anybody can.
So you think I can make a good song?
Yes, you have the capability to make one good song.
No way.
Given it enough chances, yes.
Well, I guess, yeah, if you go that way, probability, right?
Yeah. Eventually you're gonna come up with something that sounds listenable. Like, ain't nobody gonna be like, oh yeah, after the 1,000th time, I couldn't even like do this one thing.
Who have you been following recently in music?
Like as far as modern artists go?
And anybody, no matter.
Okay. So recently, I've been listening to a lot of Albert Collins, Chicago blues guitarist, soul singer. He's really good. Not good in like the technical sense, but good in like the aura or like the persona of the person. They're a good performer, right?
Okay.
Luther Allison too. He's pretty good. Although he's like real, like low on like the popularity as far as like blues artists go. Also been listening to Thundercat, listen to Dragon Ball Do-Rag. It's the best song about a do-rag you've ever listened to.
Dragon Ball Do-Rag?
Yeah, it is so funny. One of the lines in it is, I still have cat hair on me, but I still smell good. Just the song is amazing. Trust me.
Okay.
Let's see, other artists. I've been listening to a lot of BB King recently because I've been practicing a lot of that. Chris Stone Ingram. Been listening to him too. Another blues artist. He's new. He had his album dropped like, I think like a year and a half ago. Personally, I don't like the album. I know he's a good guitar player though, and I know he's a good singer too. It's just that I don't know what happened in the process of like him doing stuff to where the album's just not good.
You think it might have been overproduced or something?
Okay, when you think of blues artists, what do you think in terms of like blues artists? You think like live instrumentation, soulful singing, right? Okay, so why do we have a drum track on this blues record? Like, bro, I get it. It needs to sound modern, right? But you're a blues artist. Get a fucking drummer in.
So what do you think he should do then? Get a drummer, have him do like a little thing on the drum, and then
I feel like he didn't even do that. It legitimately sounded like a normal ass drum track.
Just something you can get off of like Fruity Loops or something like that.
Not even like that. It wasn't that bad. But it was like, you could tell that it was like produced by someone, not played by someone.
Okay.
So, which, I mean, is fine, right? If that's what he wants, it's fine. I just think that it takes away from his sound a lot because I know his band's good. I've seen him play live.
Okay, so it's one of those things. You know how good it could have been.
Yeah, I know how good he is. He is amazing.
So you think that maybe trying to be more modern got in the way of everything?
I don't think his writing chops are as good, right? The songs, like the album that I really like off the song that I really like off the album, Another Life Goes By.
Mm-hmm.
That song is good, really good, because it's talking about like a topical issue. There's a clear through line, right?
What's it about?
It's about basically like how like injustices towards like black people from police and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it's like, why do we have to wait so long to see like justice be brought to these people and stuff like that? Pondering like how long it's going to take to get to the point where this is not a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, you know, clear through line, very understand. And it's blues, you know, you want it. Emotion is the important thing in blues.
Well, isn't
music.
that with every piece of music?
No, it's especially important in blues music because it's so like it can be interpreted as very simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really like punch. You have to really punch to make sure that it like hits home to your listener, right?
Right.
Because while simple can bring more self-expression, it could also be limiting.
But you don't think every piece of music needs some emotion behind it?
I personally think that the simpler the music is, the more you have to do to make it stand out, right?
So a complex piece doesn't need a lot of emotion behind it.
Doesn't need as much like emotional complexity. Like think like jazz, right? Like bebop jazz. It's very complex. Now, how many of them have lyrics?
I don't know because I don't listen to jazz.
Okay. So bebop jazz, you will almost never hear lyrics. And if it's lyrics, it's something that's very easy to listen to.
Would it be like scat or something like that?
Yeah, think like scat or something like that. You know, like
yeah, okay, yeah.
Right? That's very complex. It's very it doesn't sound complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is very complex. And the more information you give to your listener, the more you're expecting of them, right?
So you're saying if it was a very complex song with a bunch of complex emotion behind it, it could overload your listener to where they don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right? Think like metal songs, right? Think of like virtuosic metal songs, like death metal songs with like a shredding solo or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of them are dealing with like some sort of complex emotion? Not very often.
I mean, I guess it would depend on the band, right?
Yeah.
Because some of them, they probably just write to write
what they feel.
And make music.
Yeah.
And then you have others who would create this whole story or something that happened in their life.
Yeah. Think about it this way, right? Johnny Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know a couple of Johnny Cash tunes.
Of course.
Okay. This fellow would really be playing the same thing on the guitar every time, though.
What's wrong with that?
There ain't nothing wrong with it. I, in fact, love Johnny Cash for that, right? Because he's someone that takes what should be a limiting thing and turn it into like a signature style. And really just, you know it's him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's simple, but he has an emotional complex to it through lyrics.
Yeah, through lyrics and storytelling.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think of the same thing with like blues music, right? Where it can be interpreted as very simple, right? You know, blues guitar solo, where you just hear or something like that, right? It can be very simple, but you have to like really hit it home, hit it right with the listener to make it stand out, to make it feel like it's something, right?
I feel like it's a lot more difficult, and I could be wrong, but it's a lot more difficult to bring out emotion in an instrument than it is to with
the human voice.
Yeah.
Yes, this is very true. Spoken as someone that plays a musical instrument, yes, it is insanely hard. However, when you hit it and it sounds perfect, you're just like, that is it.
So in your opinion, who is the best at doing that? It doesn't have to be a guitarist. It could be a drummer, a bassist, a trumpeter.
It's so hard.
Maybe somebody who plays the triangle.
It ain't gonna be a triangle player. I'm letting you know that right now. Triangle players, you're on notice, okay? Y'all are basically shitty drums, okay? When I think of emotion through a musical instrument, I go straight to like piano players, guitar players in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. However, not to say that bass isn't the more rhythmic, like popular instruments, can't do that. Because like bassists, y'all know how to get motherfuckers down, okay? y'all know how to get people to fucking move,
right?
Which is in itself an emotion, right? Mm-hmm. But when I think of like emotional, typically that's interpreted as like sad, right?
Okay.
Because I feel like it's easier to like get somebody to move and groove with something than to feel sad from a musical instrument.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I mean, they have it like down pat with the violin in scary movies.
Just a,
you know, and then like with bass, like you said, getting people moving and grooving and dancing.
Yeah.
It's like the staple. You have to have it.
Yeah.
Or at least something close to it.
Yeah. Like if you're like a 70s disco song and your bass line isn't groovy, you're fucking up. When I typically think of emotional playing, I think of like piano players and like guitar players. Just because there's a lot of versatility within those instruments, mm-hmm. right? Not saying that drums, bass, violins can't do that. Or heck, even a whole bunch of like random instruments, like the xylophone.
Well, would you say it just has more dynamic range?
Mm-hmm. Especially
with the instrument?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't think there's anybody on this planet that could possibly make a drum track and make somebody cry. I don't think that's possible.
I think you're wrong.
That's fine.
In fact, I know you're wrong because I remember listening to a drum track the other day and I cried because it was so good. I was like, dang.
Well, no, I mean like a sad cry.
Oh yeah.
Like bringing a sadness emotion.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like music is all context, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have like certain things happen without the other instruments being there, right? Mm-hmm. So when I was talking like the sad drum track, I was listening to like this like really, really down and mellow like jazz tune while in the rain, and then this drum just comes in with like the tss, and I'm like, damn. That fucking hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to. It's all context with music, right? Mm-hmm. But
well, I'm saying like because you could have like a pianist, right? Mm-hmm. Easily bring emotion out with a piano and everything, and it just be the piano.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to just have drums and make somebody cry due to sadness.
I think it's possible. It's just very hard.
So you believe that there's somebody out there right now that can do that?
Yep, I haven't heard it. But I know there's a fellow out there. And they're fucking working on it, okay? Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard with drums, though. Because solo drums, since it's all rhythm, right? Very, very hard. Very difficult.
So with you, piano or guitar reigns supreme when it comes to emotion?
Well, for me personally.
But which one is over the other?
Piano.
Piano, really?
Yeah, piano. Like, as a guitar player, okay, first of all, there's a lot of mediocre guitar players. I'm gonna be honest, okay? Mm-hmm. How many 80s hair bands have I listened to where it's like literally the same guitar solo, just done a little differently?
Probably a lot.
Yes, very much so. And people are like, well, you just talk about blues. And it's like, yes. A lot of that is the same. However, blues is more rooted in like emotion, displaying an emotion of some sort, right? Mm-hmm. And is the basis of rock and roll. So it's fucking old. So get off my fucking back. However, piano, you have the full range of notes, right? And you have like sustain. You can even bend notes, technically, if you have a keyboard. Mm-hmm. So it's just, piano is the most versatile instrument, bar none, outside of the human voice. Period.
And so you say guitar isn't the same because it doesn't have a full range of notes.
Yeah, it doesn't have the full range of notes. It doesn't have, you can't, okay, like for example, right? You only have 6 strings on a guitar, right?
And 82 keys on a piano?
Yep. You can theoretically, given enough fingers, play all 82 keys at the same time.
Right.
Anybody can technically play all 6 strings on a guitar. That motherfucker with 82 fingers, though. He about to show you some shit.
It is oddly satisfying to like watch a pianist pluck at the keys and everything.
Yes. And the best part about piano is that you know these motherfuckers can play. Nobody steps up to the piano and doesn't know how to play. Like, at least something, right?
Well, no. I think you're wrong on that. There are 2 kinds of people in this world that will play piano.
Okay.
There are the ones who are amazing at it and will, awe everybody around them.
Well, not necessarily amazing, but confident. They can play the instrument.
Yeah. And 2, the guy who's going to walk up and try and press every single key with his hands and arms.
And then does the piano roll after that?
Yep.
Where it's like, Woo! Or they try to do cross buttons. Or like, do, 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 boop. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that piano has the more capacity to like convey emotion.
Right.
Than like guitar or a stringed instrument of some sort. However, it cannot imitate the human voice as well as a stringed instrument because you can manipulate the strings to sound more like the human voice.
Well, yeah, that's like the Jimi Hendrix where he did the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, and like imitates like gun sounds,
like
planes flying overhead, like
Metallica with One.
Yeah, where it's like kind of can't be started. Now I gotta. I love Hendrix. Hendrix is amazing. Like he is so overrated and underrated at the same time.
What makes him underrated?
Okay. Well, first we have to go over the overrated part for me to explain this. Obviously, everyone's like, "Oh, is that the greatest guitarist of all time?" Some people are like, "He's kind of mid." To those people, I say, "You fool, you charlatan, you're a little bitch." Okay, because Hendrix. Think about the time that Hendrix comes out, right? Blues rock, or blues in general, right, is mainly stuff that's stolen from artists to give like people a unique sound, right? Think B.B. King or Albert King or Freddie King, right? How these artists didn't get their due until way later in life, right? So to see someone from that world infuse it and make it their own and not just straight up copy someone and create like so many guitar techniques that so many guitarists use today. Like you almost never heard like complex double stops on guitar before Hendrix. And then after Hendrix, everyone's like, oh my God, I gotta steal that.
So now, this is an interesting question that I love asking people. Do you think he would have been that guy? Do you think he would have been Jimi Hendrix even without the drugs? I don't think so.
No.
I think the drugs brought something out of him.
Well, having seen his work before he was, the mythical Jimi Hendrix, the like looking like a pirate looking ass, just headband wearing, like afro having, he is, even before he was that, before the drugs and all that, he was still an amazing guitar player, if not a little generic within his time frame. So
you don't think the drugs, or you do think the drugs added something to his...
I think that they added something to him, right? But I think that he would have been great in a different way without them.
So instead of like revolutionizing music, in a way, he would have just been the guy for a while.
Yeah, he would have been a great blues player.
He would have been one of the guys who is slowly forgotten about through passage of time.
Yeah.
Instead of being, every single person on this planet knows who Jimi Hendrix is.
Yeah, every single guitar player worth their snuff I should say. Jimi Hendrix is like a top 5 guitarist. Period. Doesn't matter your genre. Often number 1.
Wasn't there a guy who people claim that he sold his soul to the devil?
Robert Johnson, yes.
Robert Johnson?
Yeah. I love Robert Johnson. He is like an old school blues player, right? Like, I'm talking like Sly era, right? He's not a slide player, from what I can remember. He made the song Crossroads.
So you can actually listen to his music?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I have a record of his. We can listen to it sometime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah. Because, like, oh my God, he is so...
He was also 27 when he died.
Yeah, feels bad.
27 club.
Yep. The thing about Robert Johnson, too, he's kind of like the Hendrix of his era, if you can really think about it. This might be controversial with some of your listeners of the show. I don't care, though.
That's fine.
Okay. Black artists, blues music, soul music is probably the foundation of most popular music. And it's not given enough of its due, if I'm going to be real honest with you.
Well, what more does it need?
I feel like it deserves its time in the spotlight, especially soul music. Like, how many songs today do you listen to where, aside from like the trap beat, it's just like funky bass lines and like accented syncopated guitars?
Well, don't you think it's enough that it's all throughout music nowadays?
I feel like the artists that made the music popular didn't get their due. Like, somebody should have been in Elvis's spot that deserved that.
Instead of Elvis.
Not saying that Elvis is like bad. He's a great performer. However, somebody with actual like musical talent and actual acumen probably should have been as popular as him because they originated it.
But don't they kind of live on through the music?
Yes, but people often forget or don't even know what they're taken from, right?
But it's people like you who go back and actually learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Me, somebody who just listens to music, I don't play it or anything. I have no reason to go back and learn about them unless I'm actually and genuinely curious as to where a certain beat or an instrument, where it originates from.
Yeah. Which I'm not saying like you don't have to go all the way back. However, for modern popular music, blues, bluegrass, and jazz. That's where that all culminates for modern music.
So you don't think those old jazz artists, if they were alive today,
they don't get their due?
But if they listen to the music nowadays and they heard, not exactly the same thing, but remnants of what they created within the modern music, 100 or so years from now, or from when they were alive, you don't think they'd be happy about that?
I think that they would be like, why the fuck am I still broke? Why the fuck is my family still broke?
You really think so?
Yes, because like a lot of them didn't live good lives. Robert Johnson died poor and broke.
And young, apparently.
And very young. Hendrix, while a popular artist, was not well off, financially especially.
But do you think that really matters to them? Because they're doing what they love.
I think that for some of them it didn't matter. Like for Robert Johnson, I feel like it did matter to him. Because like he made his living off of playing. And he couldn't survive, essentially, off of it. Right? He died of a deadly illness that could have been treated.
What did he die from?
It was like...
Here, you want me to look it up?
Yeah. He died of like some illness.
Let's see. Johnson died on August 16th, 1938 at the age of 27 near Greenwood, Mississippi of, it says unknown causes.
His family says that it's of an illness.
Johnson's death was not reported publicly. Almost 30 years later, Gail Dean Wardlow, a Mississippi-based musicologist researching Johnson's life, found Johnson's death certificate, which listed only the date. What is this? I guess that was on his...
They thought that he was another person.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. See, think about that. Somebody so foundational to music was thought of as another person. Another, like, completely different human being.
Well, I mean, they thought he signed his soul to the devil, so I mean...
Barely anybody knew him. For the longest time. Only recently, in modern history, have they really taken a look back and been like, oh, wow, this guy is like it, right? He is like, if there's a what should I say, like a patient zero, if you will.
Okay.
I forget what the evolutionary term is, where it's like, oh yeah, most common ancestor. He is the most common ancestor to the most like guitar based music in the world that's known of.
But who do you think was before him?
Probably people playing in saloons. Or, I mean, blues music originates from the slave days, right? So, random slave songs.
Well, it's from like Louisiana or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, Mississippi, the Delta.
It just says the southern United States.
Mississippi. Delta, Mississippi.
Oh, here we go. The blues music is a type of music that originated in the southern United States. While the precise origin of the blues is unknown, it is generally accepted that the blues music form originated in the Mississippi Delta region in the early 1900s. There you go.
I've done my research on this. But yeah. So I think that those artists, they really didn't get their due when they really deserve more. Especially while they were alive. How could somebody so influential die so young?
Well,
And so broke and so poor.
I would hate to say it. Probably because he's black.
I mean,
that's just the truth.
Southern United States, you're black in the 20s, 30s. Rough life.
He was born at the wrong time.
Well,
the right time, but the wrong time.
Right time for his influence. Wrong time
to actually make it.
Yeah. Think of the songs that like Elvis like covered. Never gave credit to, by the way. Or didn't give credit to the original artist, is what I should say. He gave credit to his like influences, quote unquote.
Right.
But he never really gave royalties to the families of people.
Well, why would he do that? That would take money out of his pocket.
Listen, I listen to Elvis songs from time to time. They're fine songs. But I know the original artist songs, and they're much better. In my humble opinion.
Well, that's the thing. Music is, subjective?
Yeah.
So to everyone, it's different.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Not saying that Elvis was at fault for this, by the way. For all accounts, he seemed like a somewhat decent person, minus the drugs. But, like, he genuinely could have done more to raise up his influences that deserved more credit.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. You know, they'll actually shout out their influences and everything so that people that listen to them can go listen to their influences.
Yeah. The most recent example I can think of that is getting your favorite rapper that influenced you on your album in some form or fashion as a feature, right? They talk about how great they are. Featured rapper comes in. Damn, I'm great. It's really cool. I like how it is nowadays. But that's probably because of the internet, so anybody can search up, like, who's influenced by what.
So you think it'd be a lot different back then if they had the internet?
Yes, very. It would be very, very different.
But I'm talking about, like, it's the same way the time period was, except they have the internet now. Like they don't have anything else modern.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it would be way different.
So you think those black artists would...
They would rightfully get the respect, or be more likely to get the respect they deserve. I mean, I would still think that, like, Elvis would be the biggest thing just because his appeal is more mainstream for the time back then.
Well, except for his hips.
Even then. Popular culture is based off of what teenagers fucking like.
Yeah.
And teenagers are like, oh my God, he's swaying his hips. Oh my God.
Isn't that strange how, like, teenagers control the world?
In a way. Yeah. Kind of weird.
Like, they control what we listen to, what we watch.
Yeah. They're really fucking stupid. They're like adult enough to, like, buy things, but child enough to have childlike obsessions over things.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think yesterday, actually. Like, they have just enough freedom to do the things they want to do pretty much whenever they want, except when they're in school.
Yeah.
But also just enough, what is the word? They have to be responsible in a way, too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have just enough responsibilities to keep them in line.
Yeah. Teenagers or little dipshits. Okay, I think we can all agree on this.
I don't agree with that.
Teenagers are little dipshits. I don't care what anybody says. Teenagers are little dipshits. They think they know better. They don't.
And so do adults.
I also agree with that. Most adults are also dipshits too. So popular culture is driven by teenagers because they're, like I was saying earlier, they're going to be like more like the early adopters because they're going to be more likely to be obsessed with a certain thing or more fanatical about something, right?
Isn't that a bad thing though? Shouldn't they broaden their horizons a bit?
They should, but it doesn't really matter to me, right? What they like is what they're going to like, right?
Right.
And who am I to dictate what they're going to like? If they want to like BTS and harass people on Twitter, go right ahead. I don't care for the most part.
I'm not saying that you should dictate it. I just think they should, with their own mindset, look out for new things. Not just listening to BTS day in, day out, or just K-pop in general. Branch out a little.
I feel like when given that sort of freedom for the first time, you're more likely to be that way, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Because I just used to listen to rap pretty much in high school.
Yeah.
That was, except for like the occasional like maybe nu metal band.
Or whatever was playing in my car at the time.
Yeah.
On one hand, teenagers, and please don't hate me for this, please stop being obsessive. Please stop being weird. On the other hand, keep being obsessive. Keep being weird. It drives new things for the most part.
Well, that's people in general, right? They're obsessive of things. They don't want things to end, so they try to keep it living on forever.
Yeah. In some ways, that's good. In other ways, it's bad.
In what ways is it good?
Like, I think, like we're talking about this dude that died at 26, not even, 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
100 years after his death almost.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, his legacy is secured. Profoundly secured, right?
Right.
Or Hendrix. We were talking about Hendrix earlier.
Mm-hmm.
His legacy, profoundly secured, right? People can always listen to their music and stuff like that, right? However, with ideologies and stuff like that, I feel like it's more harmful to hold on to that, right? I feel like remembering something as it was and realizing it's a product of his time is very important, right? Mm-hmm. And giving due recognition to those things.
Do you think Jimi Hendrix would be as big as he is in culture if he didn't die so young?
No.
If he was still alive?
No, he would not. He had to have died for him to be as big as he is.
Now, I feel like
it's the myth of you died young and you had so much more to give.
Kind of like this Robert Johnson guy.
Yeah. He died young, had so much more to give. Right.
Okay, so what about Kurt Cobain from Nirvana? Because but I feel like his mythological status is dropping
recently. I feel like that's partially because of the corporatization of his band, mm-hmm. in part due to his bandmates and Courtney Love. Fuck you, Courtney Love. By the way, fuck you.
It is kind of funny watching people wear Nirvana shirts with the smiley face and everything.
And they don't even know what the band is.
Never heard a song or anything.
Yeah.
Unless you say, have you ever heard Smells Like Teen Spirit? Oh, I think I know that one.
And then do the riff from it. They can't even do the riff from it. They just know the lyrics and they know the... Hey! On one hand, I know that Kurt Cobain wanted to be the biggest pop star on the planet, right?
You think that?
Yeah, I do. I legitimately think you don't go from album 1 to album 2 without thinking I want to be the biggest thing in music.
Isn't it possible though that he just wanted to create music and didn't care how big it got?
No, I feel like he did. I feel like he did care. I feel like he cared a lot, actually. Probably more than most people realize. He puts off the air in interviews, right? Of I don't care. We're just we're just a common folk thing, right? And it's well, you're the artist. You made the intentional decision to sound like that, right? And you were on an indie label on the first album, and the second album was on a major label, but they didn't even give oversight to you. So you could have made it less. Okay, people are gonna. like roast the fuck out of me. But Nevermind is one of the greatest pop albums of all time.
Pop albums?
Yes. It is insane. You could so hear the influence of the Beatles on Kurt Cobain on Nevermind. It is crazy.
So is it possible to not or have an artist that doesn't want to go big and then just gets big and they don't want to be big anymore?
Oh, it is totally.
But they keep putting out music and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's totally possible. But I know that Kurt Cobain, punk, his lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. He's a very brash person, right? Mm-hmm. However, I remember I was listening to this documentary and reading a couple of his notes, his own personal notes, right? Mm-hmm. He was always talking about how he wants Nirvana to be the biggest band in the world. And it's like private notes, right? And in interviews, you know, he's always like, yeah, kind of like whatever, man. I don't care. But that's part of the veneer. That's part of the allure. That's part of the, like, spirit of what they were trying to represent, right? Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact that Kurt wanted to be the biggest artist in the world. I don't think he was ready for it. But I know that he did want to be that.
Now, how do you think he died?
Oh boy, here we go. I think he legitimately shot himself in the face. I'll be honest. Courtney Love is a piece of shit. I don't think she's a murdering piece of shit.
So you think he just got too big, too quick?
And the fame got to him. Yeah. The drugs mainly, but the fame also.
So do you think Kanye could have been the same way? But instead he just broke?
Oh, I still think he can go that route. I'm going to be honest with you. This fella is unhinged.
But do you think if he did that, he would have the same mythological status as Kurt Cobain?
No, he's kind of ruined his reputation at this point, right?
I don't know.
With
he still has his fan base.
With his diehards, he can fart into a fucking microphone. And people would be like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10 record, right? But I feel like within the general consciousness, you have to die when you're young and when you're big. Mm-hmm. For you to get that sort of recognition, like the Kurt Cobain style recognition.
Or like a Tupac or a Biggie.
Yeah. You have to die young and you have to die at the height of your artistry. Mm-hmm. Kanye, we've seen what he can offer for the most part.
So it's more of you've seen him too much and they haven't had time to soil their reputation.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Tupac, Biggie, any one of those, Robert Johnson, do you think that
Robert Johnson is different.
But I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, do you think eventually they'd soil their reputation?
They would create something that's bad or do something stupid to like ruin their reputation. Well, not ruin their reputation, but make the people not think as highly of them, right? Mm-hmm. That's the important distinction here. I don't think their reputation would be ruined. I think that they wouldn't be thought of as highly, right? Think like Tupac or Biggie. Mm-hmm. How many albums came out after their death of like songs that they thought were dog shit, but the record producers are like, oh, just slap it and put their name on it. We'll make some money off of it. Right?
Yeah, I don't know any of those songs.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Ain't nobody giving a fuck about like the 23rd posthumous Tupac record, right? Of songs that he thought was dog shit, but they completed anyway because they always sell well.
I always thought it was dumb to release an artist's music after they die.
Depends.
Unless they have purely written consent to do so. You know, I think it's dumb, like, if some person dies and their parents inherit, you know, all of their music rights and everything.
Yeah. And
then they release it. I think that's dumb. Because if they wanted it released, they would have released it. Unless, you know,
you hear
they
that
died tragically or whatever.
You hear that, Courtney Love? Stop ruining your husband's legacy, please.
What is she doing to ruin his legacy?
She's a fucking bitch. That's what she is. Just in general. Just a horrible human being. Well, okay, I shouldn't say horrible human being. She's a very tough human being to be around, apparently.
But I haven't even heard anything about her in decades, it feels like.
That's because she's irrelevant without her husband. I'm going to be real honest with you. She is completely irrelevant.
What does she even do anymore?
Be Courtney Love.
That's it.
That's her thing. But like, I will say that she was a foundational artist in like the punk movement for females, right? Mm-hmm. Or the grunge music scene as well. However, I think there are a lot of artists better than her.
Well, I wouldn't know any.
There's a lot of female artists that don't like get their due in the grunge and punk scene. Mm-hmm. But that's just like women in music in general. If you're not a singer, like a pure singer, like soul singer.
Well, what about like rock stars that are women?
Joan Jett doesn't get the respect she deserves. Pat Benatar, same thing.
Well, what kind of respect do you think they do deserve?
I think that they deserve more general respect. Like, I feel like a lot of people are saying like they're good for women in rock music, right? No, they're just good artists.
Well, I know I'm not everybody, but I don't think that.
I feel like a lot of people feel like that, though.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them great, just because I don't think that era of music is great.
Well, that's just subjective thinking.
Yeah, but like I know what is that song called? I Love Rock and Roll.
Okay, I can't stand that song. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That song's gonna stand the test of time, though.
Yeah. Like it's gonna be remembered for however long.
Even though rock and roll is no longer popular, which is like surprising to me that song is still around.
I mean, okay. To be fair, rock is making a comeback. Guitar-based music is making a comeback, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like a lot of the rap game, y'all weak as fuck. Like, actually, weak as fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So rock music is making a comeback because people are, like, actually putting some stuff out that's, like, listenable.
Is it rock or is it, like, a subgenre of rock that's coming back?
So you remember that era of, like, music with, like, Paramore, MCR?
Yeah.
That's coming back.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
Oh, no. You can see the grin on my face. I love that shit. Like, MGK, he's like a good... Well, I shouldn't say guitar hero, but he's like the main face of like guitar music for like young people outside of Tim Henson. But Tim Henson's more for like the people that actually play the instrument, right? MGK is more like the face of like, oh, I'm a rock star. I'm playing a guitar. Right?
Well, he had to switch up. Eminem whooped his ass out the game.
Oh, yeah. Legitimately whooped his ass into another genre.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy.
How many times does that ever happen in rap?
That somebody like got essentially fucking murdered on a record?
No, I mean, he literally got kicked out of the genre. Like, I don't think he could make another rap out. I mean, people would listen to it.
He still makes rap songs.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
As far as I knew, because I knew he made like a high movie, you know, where it's all about like weed jokes and all about that kind of stuff.
I'm just saying, who's that one guy? He made Black and Yellow.
Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. If you're going down the same path as Wiz Khalifa, I feel like you're fucking up.
Are you? I feel like Wiz Khalifa is on a... He's just living life now.
Yeah, he's just living life now. Like, as far as like artists go, I have no respect for Wiz Khalifa. But...
And I'm sure Wiz Khalifa does not care.
Exactly, right? Good on you, dude. You got your bag. MGK, he still makes rap songs. His latest album has a couple rap songs. It's mainly like punk inspired music though, or pop punk, I should say. Think like early Paramore, like early Paramore, or like an Avril Lavigne style thing, except with more of like the emo dude bro-ish tint to it.
I heard him do a cover of Linkin Park's Numb.
It's so bad.
It was so horrible.
No offense to him, he's a very successful artist, right? Mm-hmm. Bella, you can't sing. You can't sing, bro. Keep playing that guitar and keep singing. You cannot sing, bro.
So he doesn't sing at all?
I think he does, right? But you could tell that like live versus like his album is way different.
I never understood why people go to see people live, because it always sounds better on the record.
Oh no, that's where the artistry comes in, right? Like we were talking about Christone Ingram earlier, right? I know he can play because I've heard him live. I've watched him play. Mm-hmm. He is better live than he is on album, on record. Right?
Really?
Yes. Legitimately, genuinely, yes. A lot of artists that are more musician-based, better live, right? These pop acts, however, that are like popular because they make a song that is popular.
Yeah, I was just about to say pop music is more on the end of where it's more produced.
It's more produced.
On the back end.
It's more produced. It's more about the image, right? Like this fellow, Christone Ingram, he wears like, this dude like 200, this dude is like almost 300 pounds. Well, probably 300 pounds. Fat and under 21. And he looks like the kid in high school that you could like roll him down a hill. However, amazing dude, an amazing guitar player. I love him. Way better live than in studio.
Okay, so if you could have dinner with one artist, alive or dead, who is it going to be?
Oh my god. This is such a hard question.
I mean, anybody, but only one dinner.
Do I get to pick the dinner too?
I mean, yeah, sure, I guess.
I would probably want to have dinner. Can I choose any era of the artist if they're still alive?
Alive or dead.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody.
I would want to I would want to have dinner with 40-something-year-old Paul McCartney.
Yeah?
Yeah. Legitimately, I feel like he's on the pulse. He always knows what to do. And it's kind of crazy how he knows what to do. It's like he knows how to time travel or some shit.
So he's just got like the formula down.
He has the know and wherewithal to stop doing something. That's the important thing. Early Beatles stuff, very poppy, very boy band-ishy, right? Then all of a sudden, they turn into like a serious band. You're like, what the fuck? Well,
he wrote a lot of the stuff, right?
Yeah. Him, John, Ringo. Not so much George.
George was just there.
George, he would write like the instrumental parts, right? That's partially why he left. Is that he felt like he wasn't given enough creative input, which is true. However, I will say Paul's the better writer. John, horrible human being, by the way. Awful human being. I'm talking like legitimately, like if he was still alive today, canceled.
Yeah.
Like frame one, Twitter comes out, he is canceled. Ringo, I mean, he writes kids songs and he's very good at it. He wrote Yellow Submarine.
Oh, he's the one that did that.
Yeah. so, but yeah, Paul, like even his post Beatles work is amazing. It's so good. So I really feel like as far as creativity goes, he's the best Beatle.
But you would want him specifically?
40-something-year-old Paul.
Why not Paul today?
I feel like he's like once you get past a certain age, it's very hard to like get that sort of in the moment like question and answer style thing.
Mm-hmm. You think he's just too old to?
I don't think that he's too old to understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's too old to give a good answer.
Why is that?
You could tell that he slowed down a lot, just cognitively.
Oh, so you're saying you wouldn't get the same answer?
Yeah, I wouldn't get as detailed or as like clear of an answer.
So you don't think it's possible that he could give you an even better answer now? Like if he looks back on his career?
No. I legitimate, and to keep in mind, I'm going within the confines of one dinner.
Yeah.
If I had the whole day with him, then yeah, now Paul. But if I have one dinner, I need to have this shit be like concise and to the point. Okay?
So you never said what you and Paul are eating at this dinner?
Me and Paul? First of all, he's a Brit. He has shit taste in food. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We are going out and we're going to eat hot pot. Because I want to see this fool suffer.
But he's supposed to be giving you information. Why would you want to see him suffer?
Oh, because that'll make him more loosey-goosey, right?
So you wanted like a Hot Ones interview.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, right? you get like the little loosey-goosiness of like the pain. The other artist I was thinking of was B.B. King. He died like, 7 years ago, I think? 9 years ago?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And when I'm talking about artists that didn't get their due, right? Obviously, BB is like known worldwide, right? But I legitimately feel like he should have been the biggest artist on the planet at one point. The amount of influence he has over tons of artists, it is insane.
Like who?
Elvis, the Beatles, Eric Clapton. Any rock musician owes BB King a lot.
And then so to an extent like Michael Jackson, because he says the Beatles are an influence on him.
Yeah. Soul music, BB King. R&B music, BB King. When we talk about like common musical ancestors, right? BB's probably one of those people that's like, damn, bro, you really changed the game, didn't you?
Yeah, he died in 2015.
RIP. Rest in peace, BB. But yeah, he's the other one I was thinking of. Just because he's dead and you can't really get anything from him anymore.
So would you want the same thing, him around 40?
Oh, no, he was still like... For him, I would want him when he's like 50, 60. He had that old dude energy even when he was 40. like I'm talking like, yo, he's a little rotund, you know, he lay back in the chair, just be like, let me tell you now something. And you know you're about to get some like cool ass story or some like sagely life advice that's like super profound, but really simple. Like he'd probably be like the type of dude that's just like, listen here, son. And then give you like, God, I want to say Bill Cosby, but he's fuck Bill Cosby though. Man, fuck you. You changed the talk about people who changed the game for the worse. Bill Cosby, fuck you. Why?
I can't even watch the Cosby Show anymore.
It's so bad.
I used to love watching it as a kid.
But now you can't stop thinking about it.
Right?
Because it's like, it's so public and it's so known now. It's nuts.
But he's out of prison now.
He has money.
Well, and also he's like blind and deaf and can barely talk and...
Either way, I'm done talking about Bill Cosby. Back to BB King. The real king.
Right.
You want to talk about... I hate how Elvis is known as the king. Meanwhile, you have fucking BB King, Freddie King, Albert King. You have these three people. Change the game. Change the game. Legitimately. They don't get their due.
Well, you got to think about it. It's kind of like a war in a way. Whoever is the winner writes the history.
Yeah.
You know?
It sucks.
And he pretty much won the music war.
Which, by the way, you want to talk about changing the game at the right time, right? Music before Elvis, like right before Elvis, like hits it big, right? So fucking boring. So fucking samey. Like, holy fuck. This is the same era of doo-wop, by the way, in case you people didn't know.
I saw this one video. It was like they were doing a compilation of music from like not medieval times, but you know, ancient times. You know, where they basically just had basic drums and flutes and stuff. And so, of course, you know, somebody arranged that music. We don't have an actual like layout of what music sounded like way back then.
Yeah.
But then they had the compilation went from that, and then it would slowly transition into where we actually do have the physical records of how the notes were played back then and everything. And then it's just a recreation of that today. And then it slowly transformed into, you know, the 1950s, 60s, 70s and everything. And it was just all sounding the same and boring.
And then like 1910 hits, jazz gets invented, blues music starts happening, and all of a sudden it's like...
No. I'm talking about the 1960s and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay, well, yeah.
At least the compilation I saw, it was just all the same stuff.
Okay. You know what would be an interesting thing for you to watch? You should watch every Billboard number 1 from 1920 to modern day. That would give you like a better like realization of like what was popular at that time. A lot of instrumentals in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and doo-wop. Then doo-wop comes in and ruins everything. and then rock music comes out and saves everything. And then disco ruins everything.
You think disco ruins everything?
I think that disco... You remember how dubstep was, right?
Yes.
Disco was the dubstep of its day.
You think dubstep will actually be remembered like disco is? Or do you think that everything's so fast-paced now that...
I think that dubstep stands no fucking chance. Okay?
So it'll just be a thing of our past.
Yeah. Dubstep is like the doo-wop of this generation. Do you hear doo-wop songs anymore?
I mean, when I do, it's usually like a YouTuber.
Purposely doing an old-timey thing?
Yeah.
So yeah. Wait for 10 years and you might see Skrillex with gray hair doing like some like Carney show to like 10 people.
So you think it's impossible that it won't come back?
I don't think it's impossible. I just think it's very hard. It's a very niche style of music.
So it's just one of those things like a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Right place, right time, right generation.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with grunge. Everyone thinks that grunge was like this big thing for like all the 90s. No, it was only really a big thing for like 4 years.
Well, it's the same thing with like Jimi Hendrix, rock star career. It was only like 4 years or something like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, his influence lasts way longer than that. But yeah.
But I'm talking about the time that he was actually popular and well known.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's more popular posthumously, to be honest.
Yeah. But that's because he has that mythological status.
Yeah. So, like, with grunge music, right? It's Nirvana comes out. Mm-hmm. Right? They get it big. Nirvana dies with Kurt Cobain, right?
Right.
Then butt rock. Then butt rock. You have the Nickelbacks, the Creeds of the world. Which, mind you, guilty pleasures. Mm-hmm. Those songs, they're great. However, they're also pretty, like, bad.
You shouldn't say bad. They're generic.
They're generic
because Nickelback, a lot of their songs sound the same.
It's not even so much samey. It's just that they're trying to fake this like roughness and edgeness, right? With like you have these like big distorted guitars, and they're just like. Ugh.
So it's okay to sound the same.
It's okay to sound the same, but you better be able to like back it up, right? Because like
so like a Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine. They're about their shit, right? And you know what you're getting when you're going to a Rage concert. Mm-hmm. Well, at least I sure hope you do. Because if you're like some of these, like, no offense, some of these Republicans that think that Rage Against the Machine is for them, bro, you're fucked.
They're on the wrong side.
yeah, you're fucking up, bro. You go in a Rage concert with a MAGA hat, you might not leave that concert.
That's like you have some Republicans. They're starting to use the song "We're Not Gonna Take It" by Twisted Sister.
Yeah. Even though the singer is like totally against them in every way. Like, dude, you fellas are like, pick different songs. Pick songs that your people like you have, right?
Well, all they pretty much have is country singers.
Not even that anymore.
No?
No, like a lot of country artists are not about that.
So who do they have?
Tom McDonald. And that fella is cringe.
Yeah? You think he's cringe?
I think he is omega cringe. He is the cringiest motherfucker ever. He's like that one guy in high school that like thinks he's really smart because he listens to like Ben Shapiro or Andrew Tate or something like that. When in reality, he's dumb as fucking rocks. Legitimately. He's that guy, but like a 30-year-old, which makes it even cringier.
Oh, I didn't know he was 30. I thought he was around my age.
He might be. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I can look it up real quick if you want me to.
Yeah. If he's like over 35, I'm going to laugh. By the way, I'm just letting you know.
Okay, so if you had to guess before I click it.
32.
32? I'm going to guess he's 28. He was born in 88.
So that would make him like almost 40, right?
No. He would be 35. I think that makes him 35.
Damn, bro, you're cringe. You are. Tom McDonald will never listen to this. However,
right here, 34.
Tom McDonald will never listen to this, but you're omega fucking cringe, especially for a 34-year-old. Holy fuck.
You never know. He might hear this. I can clip that one section and just tag him, and maybe he'll see it.
Okay. Tom McDonald, fuck you. You're cringe. Holy fuck. I hate that guy so much. Not even necessarily for his politics, just the music. The music is so just, holy fuck. It's so pandering. For
me, I don't really like the music that he makes, right? Mm-hmm. But I do like some of the messages he puts out.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with this fella on anything. It probably makes me hate him more.
Really?
Yeah, I dislike this fella. I dislike him as a human.
Oh.
Like, no. Actually, I should take that back. I don't dislike you as a human. I dislike you as an artist. Legitimately.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. I was talking with this fellow at work the other day. This is total non sequitur, by the way.
Okay.
I was like listening to like some jazz stuff in the back, right? Mm-hmm. This guy walks up. Hey, can I play some Mighty Scene? You know, I'm like, yeah, sure. I get that jazz is not for everyone. However, this fella proceeds to put on Tom McDonald. I damn near wanted to like chuck his phone. It was so dumb. And he's like, bro. And I'm like, actively like I look like I'm getting annoyed, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, and the guy that's playing the music is like, you have a problem with the music, bro? Like he wants me to say that I really dislike it, right? Which is the way Tom McDonald would fucking act, by the way. He's the type of guy that like makes something offensive on purpose to try to trigger people. So you have to like not give them that, right?
Well, isn't it their fault if they get triggered?
It's their fault they get triggered. However, in this scenario, I just don't want to listen to his garbage fucking music while I'm at work.
Yeah, I don't think he really makes that good music anyway.
Yeah. Is there anything wrong? Like he wants me to say that the message of the song is like fucking dog shit to trigger, to be like, I triggered this person. Which is like, first of all, you're not triggering me. I just don't want to listen to this. It'd be the same thing if I had to listen to like, I don't know, like the Macarena or something like that. I would be that's the worst thing I can say. You're in the same category as the fucking Macarena, Tom McDonald. You're in that category.
But is that because everyone knows the Macarena? Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when I don't want to fucking listen to it.
Oh, okay, I see what you say. So where's Never Gonna Give You Up?
That song's great. I love that song. Rick Astley, I love that fella. He's probably the most successful one-hit wonder, I feel.
You know he's got a YouTube channel?
Does he?
Yeah, I don't know what he does on it, but I learned that the other day.
I feel like Rick Astley has way bigger of a career than he has any right to be, right? Just
what? Are you kidding me?
He has a one-hit wonder written all over him.
But he barely made any money off of it.
Back then.
But he's not making money off of it now either.
No, he definitely is.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. They ain't no
maybe
way.
Not off of royalties, but off of appearances to sing the song. Like, holy fuck. It's kind of like Tayson Day, you know?
Oh yeah, and he did that Pepsi commercial.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Pepper commercial.
Yeah, he did an appearance, right? He may not make any money off the song, but like just off of appearances alone, he's making like a decent living.
Let's see, what does it say? The return to the artist is pitiful. Ironic 80s icon Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, was played 39 million times on YouTube, but he received $12 for his performance share.
Yeah, that's royalties, right? However, his appearances, he played with the fucking Foo Fighters, man.
And?
He's making money. Like, much more than most artists, I will say that.
Well, when you put it like that.
Yeah. Most artists are pretty down fucking horrendous when it comes to financials, especially in a post-COVID world, right? Mm-hmm. How many live artists were just like, yeah, I'm fucking done. I can't take this shit no more.
Well, that's why you got, like, people like Travis Scott who did the Fortnite concert. I'm sure that'll become a big thing.
Oh, so you want to know something? You know how like Facebook's trying to make Metaverse a thing?
Don't remind me about it, but yes.
Okay. Metaverse is just failed Fortnite.
How what?
How many Fortnite concerts have they had?
I have no idea.
And like events they've had? It's crazy.
Doja Cat did one too, right?
Yeah. They have fucking Goku in the game.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. In the same game, you can be Goku going to a Travis Scott concert.
Yeah.
That's what Metaverse wants to be. Is that like little social hub for like people?
Wasn't that VR chat already?
Yeah, but VR chat is filled with degenerates.
I think
Fortnite, it has normal people in it.
I think what the Metaverse wants to be is the new world.
Yeah.
That's what it wants to be. It's not to make people more social and bring people together. It is not that.
Yeah. They want to have it be the new world. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, like, on one sense, is kind of like creative, uncharted territory. On the other hand, it's like derivative fucking garbage. So
that's dystopian.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought to think of.
I'm just saying, all those fellas who bought NFTs, if the metaverse became a thing, would be like frothing at the mouth.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
They'd be so happy. Even though NFTs are down like 99%.
Yeah.
From when they were first big.
Well, the idea of an NFT is a novel idea. However, we're not advanced enough in technology for it to be like a valuable thing.
Right now, it's stupid because it's just like I can download your image.
Yeah.
You don't even own it. I own it now because I just saved it on my computer because you shared it on Twitter.
Yeah. There's no like right. There's no rights to it, essentially. Especially if you share it. If you put it as your Twitter profile, that's it. You've officially shared it. It has no intrinsic value anymore.
Yeah, and all I got to do is screen capture it. That's it.
Like what I think about it, right, is like saying if we live in like if we have a new VR world, right? Mm-hmm. How you have like your own house within the VR world. That's what an NFT should be. Is like a digital space that you occupy and you lend people the digital space, right?
So what, you're going to lend people to look at a picture? Almost like a...
No. This would be in like VR or something like that, right? NFTs are more feasible in VR.
What I mean is like when you go to a museum or an art exhibit and you go see a painting by Pablo Picasso or somebody, right? You're talking about like that, but in a VR setting.
No, I'm talking like, think like, oh, okay. So VR, it's its own little world, right? There's theoretically infinite space within the VR, right? Mm-hmm. So you have your land, right, with some sort of value to it, right? Some intrinsic thing specific to you, right?
Right.
So say like you have like an NFT of something in it and you haven't shared it with anyone, right? Your space within the VR setting has intrinsic value to it. You see, I see it like that.
Isn't it the same thing as an art exhibit?
No, because you have something, you have a technically within the space, only within that space, something that is there, right? That you can give to someone else.
But it's not worth anything if nobody wants it, right?
Exactly, right?
That's strange.
It is very strange. But virtual reality is strange.
I just hope it doesn't become like a...
normal thing.
It's okay if it becomes a normal thing, like, if you want to play a game in VR or you want to chat with somebody in VR.
Oh, yeah,
fine.
That's really cool.
Cool. Whatever. Don't make it the new world where everyone's got to get an Oculus or whatever and, their job is in the metaverse. Their life is in the metaverse.
Yeah, that would be pretty dystopian. I will say, like I said, Fortnite is successful metaverse, right? How many people do you know play Fortnite? Or have played Fortnite?
Mostly everyone I know.
Exactly, right? So, Fortnite is basically what Metaverse is trying to be. Where it's like the social hub where you just like, oh, my friends, and stuff like that, right? We just get on Fortnite and we just like hang out. Now, mind you, most of the time it's to play the Battle Royale version of the game.
Yeah.
But occasionally, there's an event that you guys go do, and it's just like, oh, wow, this is really cool.
That seems weird to me, though, that you're just staring at a screen, listening to an artist live. Like, why?
Not even live, mind you.
I mean, I get it. It's kind of like just looking up a YouTube video and watching them live at, like, Coachella or something.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you just do that? Why do you have to see them in this digital space with your avatar standing there?
Because you'll only be able to experience it that one time, right?
So it's FOMO.
In what way?
Fear of missing out?
Yeah. Because, like, you'll only be there live to hear it or see it one time, right? From your perspective.
Unless you screen record it.
But you're still not going to be within that moment.
I guess. I don't know. I think it's dumb.
I think that it's not for me, but I get the appeal.
I guess we're boomers.
Yeah, we're boomers.
That's funny. We're young and we're boomers.
I got called a boomer the other day by some teenager, and I'm like, fella, I'm not even 30 yet. but to like teenagers, anyone over the age of like 22 is fucking old. So
yeah, which is strange because I remember being a teenager, and it was anyone over 30
is old.
Is old.
Nowadays, if you're like not young, you are fucking ancient, which is like, okay, I guess.
Well, I wonder how it was like for the generation beyond you, right? Because you're a millennial, I'm Gen Z. So past you, was it like, 60 is old?
Nah,
No.
it was their parents. Whatever age their parents was fucking old.
So probably around 40.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because there was no internet, right? You could only really compare to what you knew, right? So like, and the closest thing to old was your parents, obviously. So that or your grandparents, but there had to be like
well, they would just be considered extremely old, I think.
Yeah, exactly, right? So like your parents would be the old ones, or like a teacher you knew.
It's crazy to think about. 22 and you're old. You're washed up. You're past your prime. Well, to the teenagers at least.
Yeah, I mean if they're in the esports, technically, yeah.
Is that how it is in esports?
Yeah, like you're past, like unless if it's like certain games, certain like niche legacy games, right? If you are past the age of 25, you are fucking washed to fuck.
I remember seeing like an article of like these esports players, they have to get hand surgery and stuff done because they play so much.
Yeah, that's insane dedication, which I think is like harmful to esports in general. I feel like the esport that's going to make it big, right, is going to be the one that focuses more on the mental aspect rather than the physical aspect of it. Same thing with chess, right? Oh, have you heard about that chess drama thing recently?
I've seen it on YouTube. I haven't really watched. I forget the guy's name, but
Hans Niemann, Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen. He just like dropped his king or something like that.
He resigned a game against what he feels like is a cheater.
Why does he think he's cheating?
I mean, if you went on a win streak for 3 straight years, and before that you were on a win streak for like 3 straight years again, and you lost to some random 19-year-old, I feel like that's a little sus, right?
But how is he cheating? Like, can they prove that he's cheating?
Well, he admitted to cheating before. Not that specific match, but he admitted to cheating in online chess.
Oh, well, that's online chess. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. But he said that he never cheated over the board. However, because of COVID and stuff like that, online chess has become more of
the go-to.
Yeah. Especially because, like, you don't have to get in person, right? Everyone knows the rules of chess. So Magnus is like, well, you cheated before. Twice, mind you. And one of them was for a tournament. Not for money, but just for rating, right? Which is a big thing in chess, is your rating dictates what you can enter in.
Right.
So he potentially took that amount of rating away from another player.
So somebody could have taken his spot against Magnus.
Well, not necessarily, not that far down the line, but say like, if you're at 1100, right? And you want to play 1600 level players, you have to gain a lot of rating, right? So he cheated to like get to higher rating quicker. And to add that, it recently came out that his coach was caught for cheating in paid tournaments.
Oh.
So
how does he cheat? What does he do to cheat?
Okay, so the typical way of cheating when you're at that high level of chess, they don't allow phones, anything on you, right? Some people, the real speculative one that's like really fucking funny, but probably didn't happen, is that he put anal beads in his butt. And somebody watched the game and would tell him the moves via vibrations from the anal beads in his butt.
Wait. Hold on. So they're saying they had a code. If you feel this vibration, it means this.
Yeah. And Magnus was saying that he was not concentrated during the game when he should have been. Right? Which would indicate that he's using it like an engine of some sort. Because technically chess is a solved game. You know that, right?
Solved.
Oh,
solved.
Yeah. Where you can have a definitive outcome turn 1.
Can you?
Yeah. Theoretically. If you're a computer, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Connect 4. You can go online and be like, Connect 4 solved game. It's a solved game. The first player always wins. If you know how many moves in advance you're going and they play certain moves. It's the same thing with chess, except way more complex. No human will ever reach the level of a chess engine.
So he's not really cheating. He's just using an engine.
Well, no. The thing is that you're not supposed to use an engine.
But what if the engine is in his brain?
It's not in his brain, though. It's impossible for humans to calculate that far ahead. Like, I'm talking literally impossible. Like, you have a...
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's impossible.
Okay. It is so improbable that, like, you have better luck of finding, like, life within our solar system than that, right? Mm-hmm. It is so improbable. Think about it this way. They have to have a computer completely dedicated to the engine itself. Mm-hmm. Multiple computers to the engine. And you connect via a server to the engine.
So how do they think he cheated? Like, they don't really think he put anal beads in his butt and then it vibrates.
That's the funny speculative one.
Okay.
That's the funny one. The more probable one is that he had you know how there's openings in chess, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The first 25 moves are predeterminative in chess most of the time, right? So what he probably did, he probably played, because he's at such a high level of chess, right? Mm-hmm. People are less likely to suspect that you're cheating when you're at a high level, when it's in fact more likely that you're likely to cheat, right? So what he probably did is that he researched what openings he would play versus Magnus, what likely openings he would play, studied the engine lines to the point that he memorized them, and then played those against Magnus.
So he didn't cheat.
Before the game.
So he didn't cheat.
No.
He just studied his opponent.
You have to understand that, like, in chess tournaments, it takes multiple days to get through, like, a full chess tournament, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're playing against Magnus knows, like, multiple openings, right? So what is likely to happen is that he will go day one playing something completely different that no one's, like, prepared for. You literally study him like a hawk, right? And then you go through the engine lines the night before you play him. And, like, that's a no-go.
Because the game is already solved.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have any electronics on you throughout the whole tournament. Period. End of story. It's much easier to do that, to have someone send you the engine lines in some form or fashion, mm-hmm. than to get the engine lines mid-game.
Okay, so then let me ask you. If he did it a year prior, the guy who cheated...
Yeah, that's fine.
That's perfectly fine. He memorized them.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that he's... What I would suspect that he's suspecting is... Because, like, Magnus hasn't really said anything. He's just been, like, highly insinuating that he's been cheating. Mm-hmm. And he's gone out with no specifics, right? So, what I suspect that he thinks is that during the time that they're at the tournament, right, where there are no electronics, right, that someone somehow is sending him the engine lines and he's memorizing the engine lines in the tournament.
So does that mean he technically beat Magnus?
Yes.
And so did he win the tournament?
I do not remember.
Or is it, like, shut off for now because...
There's a whole bunch of bullshit around it. Because, like, they played the one tournament, right? He beats him, right? And Magnus is like, what the fuck? Now, mind you, you gotta also keep in mind, Magnus has not lost a game on white in 2 years. And the game he lost on white, he lost to the second best player in the world. Mm. Not to this upstart, like, top 20 player, right? Mm-hmm. And even before that, he did not lose on white for another 2 years previous.
Well, isn't it possible that this guy is just...
that good?
Another, what is it, Bobby Fischer or something like that?
Like a prodigy of some sort?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. With the way he's risen through the ranks, it's very possible. That's why there's a lot of controversy surrounding it, because it's everyone's like, well, he could be just that good, right? Mm-hmm. But Magnus is saying, like, and mind you, me personally, I think Magnus's opinion holds more weight than some random Joe Schmo, or even, like, somebody in the know of chess. He's the best player in the world. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, the best player of all time.
Right.
Better than anyone that's ever played the game ever. Period. End of story. And I feel like he has better wherewithal and better know-how. However, And he seems like a humble enough person to not like just accuse someone of cheating that's not. And mind you, Hans has admitted to cheating multiple times.
Okay, but what if he's wrong?
Oh yeah, he just ruined this fellow's reputation for no reason then, by the way. If he's wrong. I don't think he's wrong. There's a very long analysis on what type of suspicious moves that only the engine would do. And that's another thing about chess. The engines will do moves that players will never do, right? Mm-hmm. Because the players will know like maybe like 20, 30 moves in advance, right? The engines will know like 50 move lines in advance, 50 to 100 move lines in advance, right? So like a move that seems dumb to a human for an engine is just like the correct response, right?
Right.
Like a human would never like do a certain move.
Well, isn't it possible to accidentally make a really good move like that?
It's not possible to make that many accidental good moves.
I'm not saying that many.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like one instant. You know, you might be
possible.
playing somebody random and they make that move. And you might look at it and be like, why would they do that?
Oh, it's possible, but it does not happen at the highest levels of chess often. Or at least against Magnus. Magnus is like, you want to talk about as close to a chess engine as possible, it's Magnus Carlsen. There have been games where he has gotten theoretically close to the engine. It's fucking scary.
So what, he's just got like a supercomputer in his brain?
That fella built for chess. He built for chess.
He found his calling.
Yeah, that's his calling. You want to talk about, you're born to do one thing? That fella was born to move chess pieces.
That's crazy to think about. That. So his whole career is just playing chess pretty much?
Yeah, he's the world champ. Has been for a long time.
But what does that entail? Like he's just a world champ and he shows up to events.
He travels to tournaments, wins the tournaments, wins their prize money, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And obviously second place will get like a certain amount, third place will get a certain amount.
You know where he's from?
He's from the Swedish area of the world.
The Swedish area of the world?
Yeah, like the Nordic countries.
Let's see.
I don't want to say Sweden or Norway specific, but I know he's from like that area. He's definitely not from the U.S.
It says Norwegian chess grandmaster.
Normally, you would think of like a chess prodigy as either Russian or American, right?
Well, who was the Russian guy?
Garry Kasparov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the American was
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer.
Yeah. Those were the like big chess names, right? You have Bobby Fischer, then you have Garry Kasparov, and then you have now Magnus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, maybe this new guy is the new Magnus, for all we know.
No.
No.
No. Not unless we got anal beads up his butt.
Oh, God.
That is so fucking funny. I can't believe that. Like, honestly, right? If I was him, I would be fucking furious, right? For the accusation that I would be so desperate to win that I would put anal beads that can vibrate up my butt.
Oh, man.
But, like, at the same time, it's so fucking funny, though.
What do you think? You want to end it on chess player with anal beads in his butt?
Hans, please tell me you didn't put anal beads up his butt, bro. Please.
Oh. Well, I think we'll end it here.
Okay.
On anal beads in the butt.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
It is no problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
All right. Bye.
Adios.